I'm joined now by Herald Tribune education reporter Elizabeth Dijinis. So it's been kind of a confusing beginning of the week for the Sarasota County School Board. Yet another meeting trying to get a little bit closer to a security plan. Talk to me a little bit about what the biggest takeaways are from today's meeting.
So I think to give some context for people, yesterday we had this kind of shift where they went from this internal police department that had been discussed for a while to saying maybe we want to take a step back from that. And today's meeting was a renewal of saying, no, we want to go ahead with the internal police department. So they're going to continue to negotiate contracts with all the local municipalities and the sheriff's office for middle and high school officers, and then they're going to continue the plans for the internal police department.
Wow. So is there any type of timeline for this? I mean, when can we expect to see some kind of agreement?
I think that's a really good question. So I think they want to have the contracts for the middle and high school officers by the next board meeting, which is next month. But for these other officers, it's kind of just a case-by-case basis. They're going to be hired throughout until the school year, which is August 13th, so really soon.
Right. And then another interesting development was the police chief of Sarasota County Schools with his complicated past kind of came out today. Do you think that has any effect on all of this?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I thought they might discuss that at today's meeting. They didn't come up, but basically he has some kind of, I would say, minor red flags in his past that are just for a police chief. You want to have a really, clean, stable employee just to make sure going forward everything else is good.
Right.
But I think that the fact that they have already been maybe reconsidering this internal police department doesn't reflect well on the job security for this future police chief.
Right, and then of course his contingency is still kind of waiting for the board's approval.
Right.
So I guess we'll have to wait and see if this does really impact their decision with appointing him as chief.
Exactly. So I wonder how he feels right now, right?
Yeah, I don't know. But a lot of interesting things to kind of keep following. Is there anything specific you think that we should all be kind of looking out for?
I think that the biggest thing is still the relationship between the superintendent and the sheriff. I mean, we've been reporting that. I think everyone's been reporting that for months, that there's been some tensions there. And the sheriff will still not meet with the superintendent in a non-public setting to negotiate a contract. So he's saying they have to do it in a public meeting or in writing. He will not do like a private sit-down meeting with the superintendent. So that just reflects a lack of confidence, I think, between the two of them and not being able to have that sit-down conversation.
Right. Elizabeth, thanks you so much for trying to kind of make some sense out of this, and thanks so much for being here. Elizabeth Dijinis, the education reporter of the Herald Tribune, and I know you'll be following this very, very closely. And
always.
I'm sure we'll be seeing you again for another update. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thanks.